So, welcome to another episode of the Swamp Inside Florida Athletics. I'm your co-host, Anthony Beck, along with my other co-host, who's now frozen.
The Potato Man. So, as for him, I would like y'all to allow me to introduce myself. I am the man that rigged a spring game, Billy Donaghy Napier.
OMG, bro. That game was rigged, though. Let's not mistake.
Yeah.
Jerry Brown. Am I good?
Considering your computer yet again, y'all. I'm going to make this announcement on here right now. We are starting a GoFundMe for Jerry to buy a new laptop. Because at this point, his laptop, first of all, see, look, he's frozen again. Like, this laptop is cooked.
Oh, my God, Jerry. Why are you on this potato, bro? Why are you on this Fred Flintstone era laptop?
The work is nasty, bro.
Like, this
is it
nasty.
Good now?
We'll see how long it is.
Bro, just use your phone, bro. I'm begging you.
Because at this
point, I know what happened. It was my Wi-Fi. I know what happened. It was my Wi-Fi, bro.
Georgia Wi-Fi not treating you well, huh?
He says this every time. Freaking cook.
7 years, I'm going strong.
7 years, and it's long gone now.
End of the road, bro.
Hey, this laptop has lasted longer than 3 of Florida's head coaches.
Like boys,
the McElwain era, Rush Camp.
Like boys that said, it's the end of the road.
It's about that time. Oh. The midnight oil is burning.
For some reason, you can't let go.
Hey, no, man, bro. Like Cody Rose said, bro, your story is finished. So let it go.
Let's just put it this way: if this laptop is Todd Grantham, then I'm Dan Mullen.
Dear God, and we saw how that ended up, Jerry. Man, you gotta just. Sometimes you gotta know when it's over. Your South Carolina game is coming up, man. You gotta know when to call it quits.
Oh no, don't say that.
As you heard there, we got a special guest joining us tonight for the first time on here, formerly of SI Gators. We have Cam Parker joining us tonight. And by the way, shout out to everybody over there. I know that they're going to be going in different directions on there. Shout out to Zach for getting the job covering the Jaguars, Marcus.
Yo, Big Zach is home. He's home.
Hey, big props to Zach, man.
Could have sent him to be happy in a great city with a lot to do, but you know,
Ponte Vedra's finest is back on the block.
Hey, just stay off of Moncrief. That's all we ask.
Relax.
Just saying, bro. Just saying.
How you doing tonight, man?
Oh, we're doing good. I was, spring ball's over. I had nothing to do today, man. Today was kind of my off day, kind of get to settle back in. I was telling you guys before, I was just watching a movie and rage quitted on MLB The Show. I'm getting real frustrated, but College Football 25 is coming out soon, so we just have to wait it out until that comes out. Them posters around Gainesville, man, they look kind of nice, but but then it rained and.
So it's just like they don't look good.
That's tough.
Yeah, you told us you rage quit on MLB The Show. We have to start GoFundMe for you too for a new PS5.
Hey, I'm tired of being in AAA. I'm tired of pitching the entire game and nothing coming out of it. But it is what it is, man. God has a plan, and right now
that's right, man.
His plan for me is to stay in AAA on MLB The Show. We'll make it up to the big sooner or later. I feel it's coming.
You're learning patience. It's patience, bro.
That's what my GM told me when I complained to them. So,
hey man, toughest battles given to the toughest soldiers.
How many paragraphs was this?
It was 3 paragraphs of how I need to be patient and wait for my opportunity. I turned the game off and I'm done. I'm calling it a day.
Oh, they're so manipulating that service time when you get called up. I am banking on it.
That is wild. We got a good show for y'all now. We're gonna recap the spring game. I unfortunately was not able to make it this week. I tried. I tried, but circumstances beyond my control prevented it from happening. So,
Translation, you had to go to work.
in the fall, you said what?
So translation, you had to go to work, huh?
No, it was something different.
He had a hot date. It's all right, bro. I get it.
It'd be like that.
Oh no, well, no, it wasn't that, but
You wanted to be that.
I don't kiss and tell. What's going on, my brother? No.
Hey, what's up, Ray?
Yeah, but we're gonna recap the spring game. It was actually a lot better than it was last year. I will say that because game 10-7 in the spring game was a little shambolic. Now that I think about it,
A little.
Okay, it was a lot shambolic.
There you go.
So Cam, I know you were out there. Marcus and Jerry was out there. Jerry was probably blowing the gasket on the first incompletion that was thrown.
What you talking about, bro? I was chill.
I can indeed confirm he was chill. He was there. He was calm, cool, and collected after that first incompletion. He was fine.
Cool and collected. I know where you guys sat. You had to keep him from growing up to the top and jumping right out of the stadium.
I was actually very chill.
Can't confirm.
Yep.
This time.
Hey, man, what's going on, bro?
We can confirm this time.
Look, man, I'm going to tell you, I watch from a standpoint of I want to see what these guys have. I don't have any expectations. And I was, quite frankly, excited whenever I did see some glimmer of hope, in certain areas. Now, the only time I was on edge, seeing some of the special teams mistakes still, didn't like that. Didn't like some of that stuff, bro. That's what got me. And trying to flea flicker again after our last game.
Wait, man, it would have worked as long there was some semblance of blocking.
Here's the thing, though, AB. If you know you're not going to block it well, don't run it. Don't run it.
Hey, let's say we saw that backward pass from the press box, and we all just went, "Oh, here we go again." Oh, we saw him in that ladder. We're like, "Oh no!" They're like, if it doesn't work in a spring game, don't just.
No.
And it didn't work last year. I don't think I remember the last time a double pass worked since probably the Dan Mullen era with Trent Whittemore. Like, you got to call it quick back up. And, that's just too much.
Yeah. Anytime you can take your own offense out of a rhythm when they're very clearly have no problems really moving the football at that certain point in time, you just got to go ahead and do it, right?
That's
take them out of rhythm. Just move the ball back 15 some odd yards and just – force your freshman into a mistake later on when you don't have to be in that dying distance. Just do your thing.
That had me pissed. That was one part I was just like losing my mind. But other than that, I was good, bro.
Now with that, since y'all were there, oh wow. Okay, I think this is
man, I'm a big Skinner fan. I'll take it. Listen, I was on High Top last week or a week and a half ago, man, and it was Gardner Minshew, it was Zorro, it was Star, it was everything, man. So
I was gonna say Gardner Minshew.
I was very much thinking that too. I can't lie.
Gardner Minshew.
I got a notes on my phone right now that just has all the lists of everything people call me between High Top, the jokes my sister's made. She's called me Joe Dirt before. I've got those nicknames just because they're freaking hilarious, man. And I'm a big Skinner fan. I'll take it.
Yeah, and as a Jacksonville native, I will also gladly take it as well.
No, man, Joe Dirt is crazy.
Yeah,
it is, man. It is.
Yeah, she's an FSU student though, so who's the bigger loser? Let's be honest. Come on.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely.
Come on.
Y'all could at least send her to FAU.
Yeah, listen, man. One sister went to Tally, and it was enough for the other sister to go up. And I tried to rope them in, but it just was not coming. They had wanted nothing to do with it. And I was like, you know what?
Hey.
We don't want you.
Well, tell her to transfer to like FAU or FIU somewhere like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Listen,
Yeah,
if she
sure
calls you to her on a weekly basis, man, this is a fight that it's just not worth picking.
Well,
I feel you, bro.
sounds like
just gotta let it go.
NIL may have to come in.
Not from me. Not from me.
That would not be happening.
You're gonna have to find that
Somebody else, not Cam Victorious.
Right?
No.
Chip in a little bit.
She's gonna have to look elsewhere, man. It's not happening.
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Yeah, we had the spring game this past Saturday, and let's just be honest, all eyes were on DJ Lagway. We all know that he played well, but what were you guys some of the takeaways from the game that you guys saw that, positive, negative? We'll take negative comments on here this time. But like what were some of the takeaways that you guys saw?
Lob it up, Jerry.
Marcus, you do it, man. When you seen him do what?
Let me clear my throat real quick. When I seen him throw that ball, I was like, oh my gosh. Graham, you're not in trouble this year, brother. You good enough to start on this team. You the leader. But when I seen Derek Lagway Jr., a.k.a. DJ Lagway of Willis, Texas, throw that pill. You see everything that everyone said about him coming out of high school, Gary National Player of the Year. He's got the arm strength. He's got the size. Like, I've seen him in person. That is a big kid.
He's huge.
So and he's got the speed. He's got wheels. So running the football is not going to be an issue. And being able to evade pressure is not going to be as big of an issue for him either, clearly. Now, I will say some of those sacks he's getting out of in the real game. Some of them. A couple of them, yeah, I'll take it. But come on, dude. Let's be serious. But anyway, I liked what I saw. Of course, at times he did look like a freshman, like that one pick he had, but probably shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with because of the stupid burst that played earlier.
His fault either, by the way. That was
that was Abrams, right? Abrams went too deep.
Yeah, like that's just one of those things where it's spraying, you clean that up, and when you get to fall camp, you work on that. Cool. But the positives were there. One of the big completions down the middle, like the arm strength was there. The release is really quick. And the touchdown where he split the safety, that was awesome. It's like he's just about as advertised. Sure, he's going to sit and learn this year. He'll get some packages, most likely. Mm-hmm. But the things that you want to see out of him, he checked off all the boxes.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I have a infamous history of jinxing quarterbacks at UF, especially quarterbacks that I this is be honest, black quarterbacks specifically. I always jinx them, bro. So I don't want to jinx my guy. I love DJ, but what I saw, just being honest, I saw a guy that looked like he was somebody that works hard, ultra competitive. You could tell the guy just a competitive freak. Some of the passes that he made, especially that pass to Spirito, I think it was like a post route or something. He floated it. That was perfect touch. The pass across the middle. I think it was to Burke when he caught it and it was low. But just for him to get it across, line of scrimmage like that, just tremendous. I think this is a guy the defenses are going to hate to play against because he's so wiggly in the pocket. He knows how to work his way around the pocket, which is his presence to be a freshman is crazy in my opinion. And then physically, he's a specimen. So I think
like he belongs.
He's high upside guy, and I think in about 3 years, you'll have these scouts looking at him saying, "This is a guy we want to take a chance on." DJ he looked great out there, man. He looked great, So yeah, that's what I'll say about him. I don't want to jinx him, bro. I'm not gonna say nothing about no Heisman, nothing like that.
I will say we ain't gonna say nothing about Heisman, but Treon Harris and the others that you have said things about, he ain't that. I'll just leave it there.
Looks better than Emory and Treon. I will say that.
Yeah, that was the thing too. We saw it throughout camp in the brief time, and not even being completely honest. We've heard some things too where he had some bad days in camp, and that's going to happen with anytime you get a freshman quarterback. There's going to be some struggles. We heard it from the scrimmage too, where he threw like three or four interceptions in one of the scrimmages. So to see him bounce back from the scrimmage and play as well as he did in the spring game in front of a crowd like that. I mean, it was pretty impressive. And I know the numbers 12 for 21, you look at it and you're like, oh, on paper, that's not great. But you look at the 12 completions that he did make, that throw to Spirito across the field, that's probably his best throw the entire game. I know he had the touch on the Mizell was pretty, but he's throwing it to the left side to probably the shortest receiver on the team, a former walk-on, and he was able to grab it. Great catch, but that's probably his best throw. And again, the accuracy, the zip, that's everything that obviously we saw from his high school tape. We were told throughout interviews in his recruiting process. We saw a little bit of it in the brief time that we were allowed to see out at practice, and now we got to see it in the spring game. It was really impressive. And I think a lot of that too has to do with there's not a lot of pressure for DJ right now. It's Graham is the quarterback. Graham Mertz is the starting quarterback. He came into Florida knowing that Graham Mertz was going to be the starting quarterback. Graham knew that his job really wasn't up for grabs. It's his job, and he gets to be a mentor. So you see, even with Graham too, there doesn't look to be a lot of pressure. I mean, yeah, there's pressure to win football games as a whole. But as far as the specific quarterback battle, it's not a battle. Therefore, there's no pressure. They can just go out and do what they need to do. Graham, be the leader of the offense, be the leader of the team, get better with his game as far as maybe having some downfield shots. And then being a mentor for DJ, and DJ being a sponge, learning from Graham, learning from Billy Napier, learning from Ryan O'Hara, taking in what it's like to be a college quarterback, and also playing to your strengths. He can run the ball better than most quarterbacks in the country. We didn't get to really see that because he was no contact, but you saw that he's not afraid to take it and go. And he had a couple runs where he's allowed to, be tapped, get some contact. He's going to get a good game. So I was really impressed with the quarterback play. There were some plays that were a little iffy. His interception to Manny wasn't great for a lot of different reasons. Wasn't necessarily him on his own. Graham's some of his downfield shots, he kind of scrambled a little bit too. It wasn't the best of performances. Granted, the offensive line is still newly put together, and he was playing with a third-string left tackle. So, you kind of take that with a grain of salt. But, I mean, overall, I was impressed with the quarterback play. Wasn't a perfect scrimmage by any means. Special teams was just bad again.
Oh, God.
It just was bad. But and even some of the defensive plays, you kind of looked at it and you're like, tackling's better, but coverage, there were a couple of busts that you were like, man, one guy stayed there. Maybe that play wouldn't have been made at the same time. The scrimmage, good plays are going to happen. You're going to look at it as the offense did great and the defense sucked. What's the truth there? Because it's a scrimmage, you're playing your own guys. So again, plenty of time to get things corrected. But overall, it was better than it was last year. Still wasn't maybe the best. A lot of points left off the board. They attempted 7 field goals. They missed 3 of them. It's not good. It's not good in the scrimmage. But overall, though, there were a lot of good moments that I think people can be excited about.
And this right here is a question that gets right to one of my other big bullet points.
No, he's not RB2. No, he's not. That's still Trayon Webb.
But
Jaden Ball was very impressive. That was one of my big takeaways. I'm not even gonna lie. That was one of my big takeaways. He was absolutely. First of all, he's every bit of 238 pounds.
Good man, that boy's huge.
That boy's gonna wiggle through.
This is a 238-pound running back that can move. So you're seeing him go out there, just being able to play free. I mean, I know it's a spring game, but even like some freshmen still get a little nervous knowing that it's basically their first college game, but seeing him going out there and doing what he did, that running back, I know optics look bad with Trevor Etienne transferring and going to the Puppies up north. But that running back room is fine. Yeah. You can replace the production.
I got a quick story about Jaden Ball, because when he took his visit to UF and he was still committed to Arkansas, he talked to a few of us outside the complex, and there was the feeling that he was probably going to flip. We kind of got that vibe from him. He took a visit at the same time as Joey Slackman, Jaquez Bridges, Greg Smith, and all those guys ended up committing. So it was a pretty good weekend for Florida. That was sometime in December, I want to say. But you got the vibe that he was going to flip it, and he looked. I don't want to say small; he was way bigger than I was, but you were kind of like, oh, this guy, like, he's a running back. We'll see. And then he's put on some weight, man. I came out the first practice, and I was like, wow, he's gotten so much bigger. It seems like in the 3 months that we saw him. And I put a couple clips out, and people kind of flipped out because he's 237 and he's running like he's 180. But he did a really good job in the spring game. The running back room is going to be fine. As far as running back 2, I think, honestly, it's a thing that's up for grabs. Montreal's RB1, whether people like it or not. Back-to-back 800-yard seasons in college. He's running back 1. Running back 2, I think Florida, it's more like 2A, 2B. And heck, even 2C with KD Daniels. And we don't even know what that rotation is going to look like when Cam Carroll comes back either.
Yeah, that's true.
Healthy his entire time he's been here. But they feel so strong about it, about him. So, I think the rotation, truthfully, is wide open because not only do they have good backs, but they have guys who can do multiple. They can finally pass the ball a little bit to the backs too with KD, Dayton Ball. They haven't been really able to do that with Trevor when he was here and with Montreal.
I agree.
They can open it up a little bit more with those guys too. And Trayon Webb, he didn't really get a lot of carries, but we'll see. So it's only the spring game. When he was in last year, he was productive. So we'll see what that rotation looks like. But I think it's 1 with Montreal and then 2A and 2B with Trayon and Jaden Ball. Napier has not been afraid to play freshmen, and you can't keep a freshman like that off the field that can benefit your offense.
And one thing I did like about Trayon Webb is that he didn't get a lot of carries, but the ones that he did get and the opportunities that he got, he showed some improved play strength. He was able to run through contact. He fell forward for good yardage, for some extra yardage. They split him out wide a couple of times to try to swing it out to him. So that's another added wrinkle to his game that even I didn't really think he had, even as someone that watched him in high school training Christian. So that's something to keep an eye on for later down in the season if they're ever able to try to put that into the playbook and try to use that in games. And Jaden Ball, he was a kid that I heard the name of a couple of times. I was like, okay, this is a nice little addition to the class. And then see him in person, it's like, oh, this kid has something. He's a big kid. He's got wiggle. He can accelerate. He can make some really nice cuts. His vision looks solid. And if he gets an open field, good luck. So yeah, like that's a kid that I'm definitely circling as someone to watch when he get to fall camp and things really start getting really, really real. And during the season, we'll see if he's gonna get some carries and see if he can add more of a spark to the run game. But again, the Trevor Etienne thing, I get the optics. I get how bad it is because you never want to lose a player that talented, especially to your rival. But at the room, from what I saw on Saturday,
it's fine.
I think we'll be fine. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah, and the thing with Baugh too, I forgot to mention this too with the receiver. He was a receiver in high school for a little bit. He was a running back growing up, and then the school that he went to, he kind of had to play every position, including receiver. And then he moved back to running back his senior year and did also a lot of wildcat formation. So he can really do it all. And I think he was kind of underrated and overlooked in this class because he was such a late addition. He's an Arkansas commit forever. He decommitted, and then it was like maybe Alabama comes in and gets him. Instead, he chooses Florida. But also, KD Daniels was like 5,000 career rushing yards in high school, something like that. The Mississippi Gatorade Player of the Year, something crazy. So he kind of went me personally felt like he went under the radar a little bit just because of all that stuff. But again, he had one of the best spring games. He led all the rushers. He had 77 yards on 12 carries. He was phenomenal. And that 25-yarder where he showed some boogie on there on those runs. So I'm excited to see what he can do, especially because, again, there's not a lot of pressure from him to maybe be super, super productive right away because Montrell's still there. Treon Webb is still there. He's got KD Daniels. He can go and just play to his strengths and be his type of running back and go from there.
And we just lost Jerry.
Oh, of course we did.
Yeah.
He'll be back soon. But no, like the running backs, I think will be okay. Now to the part of the offense in the skill position where I'm like, okay, I'm a little concerned here. That would be the wide receivers. Now,
Yeah.
Trey Wilson, he's that guy. We all know this. That he flashed a lot of talent last year. In this year, he's gonna have a bigger role. He had that big touchdown he had from Graham in the spring game. I was encouraged because he didn't run a big chunk of the route tree his freshman year, but this year now he's gonna have an expanded role. Him running down the field is gonna be something that helps his offense a ton, and he's got the chops for it clearly. So that's a big positive. Aiden Mizell, I was impressed by it. He had a big touchdown for Lagway. He's someone that has some height on him. He has some speed to get downfield, which is something that we don't have a whole lot. We got guys that can fly, but just not a lot of size. And that's something that's probably going to end up biting us at some point. So I would like to get your thoughts on that, Cam. Like, what do you think about the receiving room as it is right now?
It definitely I felt like there was a lot that was left to be desired on Saturday. Trey Wilson was phenomenal in space. No surprises there. Aiden Mizell had one of the better camps of everyone on the team. He put on some weight. He's fully healthy. And he took advantage of some snaps because of some guys that have been injured. Jaquavian Frazier's spent time injured this year. Andy Jean's been dealing with an injury. So Aiden Mizell's really taken advantage of that. And he looked really good. And, it's right. He could start. I mean, I don't know if he's going to start or not. He'll be on the field anyway. But again, Khalil Jackson, he looked good when the ball was thrown to him. Chimere Dike kind of had a quiet day, but again, he had a really good scrimmage earlier in the spring camp too, where it just we were hearing that Mertz was connecting with him on a route. He had a big touchdown, so I feel like the optics would be a little bit different if he played like that in this scrimmage versus how he did in the closed one. But again, the thing there's plenty of time, to get things right, to still get some chemistry. Obviously, I think everyone on Gator Nation right now is on Andy Jean watch to see what happens there. Transfer portal opens up tomorrow. Florida is 1 or 2 scholarships over the count right now, last time I checked. So, there's obviously, with any team, there's going to be moves. I haven't heard anything about him leaving. Just take that with a grain of salt. But again, you just never know with the portal, and that's someone who's been just constantly mentioned the last couple of days. So yeah, but the receiver room, there's definitely a lot of room for growth and opportunities there. They got some talented freshmen. Didn't really get to see too much out of them in the spring game. If the scholarship spot does end up opening up and they wanted to attack the portal, that's maybe a position that they have to go get a veteran, because they do not have a lot of veterans in that room right now. Outside of DK, there's hardly anyone with extensive experience. Obviously, Trey Wilson played in every game last year, but even then, that's such a sliver of true experience, especially with everyone got a free year of eligibility with COVID, so now you have 6-year and 7-year guys. So maybe they do look at receiver, try to go get a veteran to go help out the room a little bit more. I think that's kind of, if you had to rank the positions for transfer portal, it's probably lower middle. I don't know if it's a super, super high priority. It depends on who else enters from other teams. But again, I think the receiver room outside of Wilson, Mizell, and even Taylor Spirito with the 2 catches that he had, there was a lot that was left to be desired, and we'll just have to wait and see. But again, it's the spring game. There's only so much you can take away from it.
Yeah. I try to keep that in perspective. Richard?
I would say I would agree, man. You only get to see so much, even like on a game-by-game basis, you see some guys have great games and then some guys are silent and vice versa. So we probably will see DK, come in and be a guy that's relied upon a lot. Maybe a guy like Marcus Burke steps up and finally does what he should do. I would hope for like 400 yards plus from him. Of course, we have, Trey Wilson, who's a dynamic guy. But like we said, we have to have a wide receiver too. Looking forward to seeing Aiden. and what he does, and I think play calling, route trees. There at some point they're going to have to get more creative against the tougher defenses that we see. And I think that'll open up some of the things for some of the wide receivers, and then even using a guy like Artis Boardingham, who I felt like had a tremendous year last year, using him as a wide receiver at times would be great and beneficial for us. And I think we still have Hayden Hansen, right?
Yeah, he's more of a blocking guy, but I think he talked about it in spring too this year with Arliss being the receiving guy and he being the blocking guy. They wanted to work opposite skill set. So Arliss has been really focusing on blocking. Hansen's been working on receiving a lot more. They also, I think people also forget too that they have Amir Jackson coming in fall camp. He wasn't an early enrollee, so how does he do? Can he get in the rotation? Napier praised Tony Livingston for kind of him, getting better and productively. Gavin Hill made a position change over to tight end. Didn't play a lot of that in high school, but did do that in 7-on-7 and was in certain packages at Buchholz. So again, and Arliss too, he played receiver in high school. He's big enough to go play tight end. So, there's opportunity there to maybe split him out wide. I don't know if they will. They really love running that 12 personnel with the tight ends inside. But maybe there is an opportunity to kind of extend the offense outside a little bit more. And it helps too when Russ Callaway is your position coach and he's going to have a little more play calling duties than he did last year too. Maybe he tries to help out his group a little bit more because he knows what type of players they can be. So again, a lot of opportunity for growth, a lot of different guys who can get in the passing game a little bit more. Napier's been kind of stingy in the spring game with not pulling too much. The one failed trick play that everyone knew was going to fail when they saw the backwards pass. But I think that there's plenty of time for things to kind of get corrected. There's still a lot of guys that we didn't really get to see a whole lot of in spring that got time to get better. But again, there's plenty of opportunity for growth too, and there's a lot of guys that we didn't get to fully see that could make an impact when they are fully ready to go.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now to the offensive line. Jerry, what did you think? I'll pass to you.
Yeah, man. So I'll say this. I really like the fact that Damian George is playing inside now. Thank God. That was a lot better than him being on the outside. I'll say that much, in my opinion. There were some times where I felt like guys got pushed back. I didn't like that. I think Kearney's going to be huge for us at some point. Kearney, Damian George, Harris. I thought Harris looked good in the game. Marcus, there's one guy that you don't particularly care too much for. He is who he is.
Whoa.
Who that?
All right, look, bro.
Marcus? Who is it?
Hey, bro.
Hey, man. Does he play the position of center?
Correct.
Does he play backup center? Is he probably going to start this year? Mr. Jake Slaughter's his name, I believe.
Man. Hold on. That's kind of funny considering he was one of the guys I was consistently hearing was having a great camp.
He did. And part of that too was he had a really bad Utah game last year. I think part of that was he wasn't really expecting to play because Kingsley was still kind of hit or miss with his injury. But he got way better as the season went on. It was overshadowed because center is just kind of overshadowed on the offensive line especially. But he graded out as one of the top players on the team. He got better as the season went on. He's kind of solidified that spot in this spring. And again, worst case scenario, if he doesn't necessarily work out, they still got a couple guys. They still got Rod Kearney. I know Bryce has also played all 5 spots too. So, right now it's Jake Slaughter's spot. He had one of the better springs of people on the team. But again, I think just going back to the offensive line specifically, and this can be said too about Damian George, who the transition to guard is the right move. Not maybe having it's been a weird transition too. I think that he's still got a lot of room to grow. I think that right guard spot is truly wide open going into fall camp.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of depth on the offensive line, more depth than I think that they've had since Napier's been there. at least since his first year when they had all the guys that transferred out and Austin Barber kind of emerged. But they've got a lot of guys that they can kind of throw into spots. Brandon Crenshaw, Dixon, he's been an immediate impact guy. They were also kind of shorthanded too. They had to play Devin Emmanuel at left tackle, and he's the third guy. They were without Austin Barber. They were without Cam Waits. So again, this offensive line, I think guard is a position that they're going to look at in the portal, just because of the uncertainty with, the Damian George move, how that's going to work out. Plus, they don't have a lot of experience behind him. Again, talk about Rod Kearney, who's been mostly focusing on center. But he can move over, but he's been mostly focusing on center. Bryce Lovett, who has not played a whole lot. And even then, he's been working at tackle a little bit too. Caden Jones is another guy who's been working at tackle. And they have a lot of freshmen who haven't enrolled yet. They're going to enroll in fall. So, I think guard is going to be a big position that they look at in the portal if they can get that scholarship spot open. But again, they've got a lot of depth that they can work with too.
Well, there's one name in the portal. I'm not going to say the name. That
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Definitely going to be a person of interest. I'll say that.
I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. That just adds on to what we need to be successful, because I'm tired of getting pushed around by Kentucky, man. I mean, just truth be told.
Just have to bring.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree, man. I mean, I just, if you're gonna show your cards, why are you gonna show a card of a double flea flicker pass? Why that card?
Like, why would you pull that joke
like flea flicker that they threw an interception on in the game last week? And I think that got stacked on another attempt too. So it's the worst kept trick play secret in UF history, man. It's just does not work.
It ain't it. But I will say about Damian George here, it's something that I've said a lot on the show about the move to guard. It's something that you always see and always have to have a question out on about tackles that aren't good tackles that move to guard.
Mm-hmm.
Are they a tackle who was miscast and his strength is better suited to play in a more condensed spot of the field at guard? Or is it just simply a bad tackle?
That's a fair question. Honestly, it's a fair question. I know when he was at Alabama, they wanted him to play guard. He preferred to play tackle a little bit, and when he came to Florida, they tried him at tackle, and we all saw how that worked out. So they moved him to guard. A lot of last year too was kind of plug and play because they lost a lot of guys in the portal. They lost pretty much their entire offensive line to either the draft or transferring out. So they kind of had to grab whatever puzzle piece they could and kind of squeeze it in and hope that it fits and make it work. Now that they have guys, they can move him to guard and try it out. The footwork is a lot better. He's a lot more suited to guard in that regard. The strength is still kind of a question. As Jerry said, he kind of got pushed around a little bit. I think he had a holding call in the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So again, kind of got to see how that goes. Best case scenario, he's a pretty good guard that they can work with. Worst case scenario, they got a few guys behind him who can play right away too. So, we'll just have to wait and see. But if, looking at it right now, the offensive line, you're looking at Barber at left tackle, Najee Harris at left guard, Jake Slaughter at center. Right guard is wide open, in my opinion, and then right tackle is Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. But there's plenty of opportunity for guys to get on the field too. Just have to see who's able to stand out at that right guard position, or if they go get a guy in the portal who can go play that, who brings a lot of experience, and they could work with that too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now switching gears. So
and then my cat, he's making an appearance today.
Hey, what's up, man?
Crazy Chester, he's will not leave me alone tonight.
Salute to Chester. Salute to Chester.
Shout out Chester always.
He just
love us a good pet cameo.
He just here to make sure that you recognize that is his house.
Yeah, it's man. He's getting the Parker NIL fund right now. Not my sister to transfer. He's getting all of it right now.
Parker Victorious is eating good with Chester.
Parker Victorious.
He's not cooperating with it at all, man. He's demanding the money before he goes and works out. But he's doing good, man.
This is another one I've heard. Bryce playing guard, and
Yeah.
apparently that he's done well there when they put him there.
Yeah, that's another thing too, where they have been really quick to praise him for his performance this spring. And Bryce Lovett too is a guy that they feel strongly about because he can play multiple positions on the offensive line. And this may be a little bit of a bias because I'm from Brevard County and he's a Rockledge Raider guy, so kind of got 3-2-1 represent. But he's a guy too that if he continues to keep making the strides that he made this spring, he could start at right guard.
I would love it,
especially with some of the struggles that and the history with Damian George. He's a guy that could take that spot. Again, we just kind of have to wait and see. I mentioned this before already, but I'm really curious to see how they attack the portal once that they can get those scholarship spots opened up. Again, they're over the scholarship limit right now. Obviously, a couple guys are probably going to leave. That happens with every team. Don't know who it is, but you expect a couple guys to leave just because that's the culture in college football today.
Yep.
If they can get under the scholarship limit, do they look at right guard? Just knowing that Damian George can be hit or miss, and you got a lot of guys who haven't played behind him. Can you go get a veteran that at the very least can get you like an insurance policy? Right now, I really like what Bryce Lovett has done. I think he could take that spot. I still want to wait and see what they do in the portal if they'll get that guard or if they go attack another position instead.
Well, I think wide receiver is another position where they're gonna add from the portal. Couple guys I'm keeping my eye on whether see if they enter or not. There's one in particular that I was linked to earlier today when I talked to somebody and just said if he enters the portal, there's going to be a lot of suitors after him. Not gonna reveal the name just yet, but
AB got all the sources. Look, DM AB about any news you need.
Hey, I ain't got time for that. I will shut my DMs off with the quickness.
DM AB, man.
The good thing is we don't got to wait too long, man. That portal opens up tomorrow. You're going to see all the Hayes Fawcett edit with entering the portal.
Yep.
We already seen guys, not on Florida, but seeing guys announce their intentions to enter the portal. Tennessee's linebacker, I forget his name, their leading tackler.
Elijah Herring.
Yeah, he just announced his intention to enter the transfer portal. That weird.
The kid from Georgia too, the running back, who I thought was really good.
Back. So we're already kind of seeing it, but tomorrow's going to be pretty chaotic. You're going to see a lot of stuff on Twitter, and Florida's going to be no different, just because that's the culture. That's just the way college football is. And again, they have to get under the scholarship count. There's going to be guys that have to leave anyway. So we'll just have to wait and see who exactly it is. I've got a couple guys who, I'm keeping an eye on as well. Again, I mentioned this, Gator Nation's on Andy Jean watch, seeing what happens with that. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
I hope that's an end because I feel like injuries are the only thing that's really hampered him.
That is exactly what it is. He had a couple good catches last year, and then he got hurt, and then came back spring. Everyone's excited. He gets hurt, and he's been out for most of spring. So it's a really tough break for a really good kid. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, man, it sucks. You hate to see that any kid, but hopefully he sticks it out. And salute, man, salute, brother. Thank you, my guy.
But that's one I hope don't enter the portal. But if he does, hey, I mean, it is what it is at this point. I mean, like you said, it happens with every team. So you can't really get attached to players or anything. You have to see how it goes down. On top of that, with NIL involved, you got to recruit your own team anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta make sure you're able to keep your team intact. And hey, if anybody hits the portal from other teams, hey, this is a position you need to go after them. So, guard is a position that we're probably going to attack. Wide receiver, could be, and depending on who leaves, I mean, maybe another position that you go at that you will go in the portal for. So, you just never know. I mean, everybody's on watch right now.
Yeah, another position, and just me personally that I'm looking at, is the linebacker room, just because of all the injuries that they had this spring. They were really depleted this spring because of Shamar being out, because of Derek Wingo being out, Miles Graham with his injury. Got Aaron Childs coming in fall camp, so they'll have those numbers back. Miles Graham should be good by fall. Derek Wingo and Shamar James are on track to return. But again, you're looking at a room that has a lot of injury history. If you got enough spots, because again, I don't think that it's the big priority. I think the priority is going to be on the offensive line at that guard spot. But if you find where you have enough scholarship spots, do you try to go find an experienced linebacker that can help you out too, just because of all the injury history that you've had? Because let's say another crazy thing happens next year with, Shamar gets hurt, Wingo gets hurt, another guy gets hurt. You're really depleted again. And I know Manny Nunnery had a good spring. I know Jaden Robinson has been standing out. Pup Howard had a fantastic spring.
Oh man, that kid.
He balled out.
He was great on Saturday. But again, there's strength in numbers, and you got to have the numbers and the depth behind it. So again, I think that linebacker isn't the priority, but it's certainly a position that I'm watching if they can have enough scholarships opened up and there's a right guy out there for them.
Didn't they move Moten to linebacker as well?
They did. They moved him up. But again, I don't know how that's going to work out just because there's so many guys there that I hate to say are frankly better, but they are. But again, that's another kind of insurance policy where a guy has a lot of experience wasn't great at safety, move him up to linebacker. He could play. There's the cat's tail. They got to play out in the go away, bud. Got to play out. So he, it's an interesting move with that one, but I still think that, at the end of the day, if there's a lot of injuries and you got a spot open, maybe that's another position that you look at just in case.
Yeah, because if you're talking about moving a bad safety to your linebacker room, you've already messed up.
Oh my God. Come on, Marcus. Hey, yeah, come on, man.
I'm just telling the truth, bro. He just wasn't a good safety.
Oh, Jam was dope.
Oh, wow.
Jam is fire, bro. I didn't think about that.
It's fine.
Come on, man. I can't be cutting.
Hey, man.
Be doing this.
I will reserve.
Q's always.
Wait, hold on a minute. Yeah, we ain't finna lie about that. We ain't finna lie like this.
I don't know if that's a lie.
With DK?
Hey, he had a good spring, and again, the word from one of the scrimmages was that Graham Mertz hit him multiple times for big plays, and he had like a 40-yard touchdown or something like that. If he has that type of game in the scrimmage, this isn't a conversation that we're having. That being said, when the lights come on, you do have to perform, and he had an 18-yard reception, but again, the separation wasn't always there. I think especially on the interception that Denson got against Mertz. Mertz probably shouldn't have thrown that football anyways.
Nah.
I think he was kind of forcing it to his guy, trying to get him some touches. But same time, man, Denson had him locked up, and you're talking a veteran against a kid that's hardly ever played. Just, that's kind of a play where Denson won that play. But DK, I still think that he could be pretty good for Florida, not an all-SEC guy. Eugene Wilson is the face of the receiver room. There's no question about that. Khalil Jackson has been phenomenal, acrobatic catches down the field. But I still think DK can kind of be a security blanket guy for Mertz, a guy that, Mertz knows where he's going to be on the field at all times. He knows his tendencies. He trusts him. But again, one spring game, you can't really take away too much out of it. But you definitely would have liked to see him make a few more plays than what he had.
That's one thing I kind of want to say about Khalil Jackson. It was actually nice to see him catch a pass and actually run.
Yes.
Oh, that was
real.
It was beautiful, man.
Actually go out there, catch a pass, and be able to take off on catch a pass. Hopefully we can see that more this year because he could have had some more touchdowns. Did he score a touchdown last year? I think he had one.
He had one.
More touchdowns and we're able to get that going.
Because every time I watch the games with my dad, we were always like, Khalil Jackson is going to give you 2 catches, and where he catches it, that's where he will stay. He will give you all that he can give, and that'll be all.
And it'll be the craziest catch of the entire game, too. It'll be
that
sideline thing with 2 defenders around him, and he'll somehow reel it in, and that'll be it for the drive.
Yeah, if you need one big 15-yard gain to convert on a big third down, he'll give you that big 15-yard gain to convert a third down. We need to get that 15-yard gain and turn a field for an extra 10, 15 yards.
Big.
He's giving you just those 15 yards that he already got.
I will say this. I would not be surprised if he somehow pulls an Odell and all of a sudden, and Cam, you'll know this being a Giants fan, if he somehow, goes back with 2 fingers and catches it like that, I would not even be surprised. That's how he calls his passes in his career anyway. So,
hey, bro, he might have the best hands on the team, bro.
There's practice tape that has been posted on Twitter. It wasn't from this year, but there's practice tape that's been posted from when he was a walk-on, of him making some crazy acrobatic catches. I don't know where it is. It was on Twitter somewhere, but I talked to Willie last summer. He's also a coach up here in Gainesville, one of the local high schools, so I go see him a few times and talk to him. And he's talked about how Khalil, when he was put on scholarship, and people were like, "Oh, walk on scholarship, what is Billy doing?" He's like, Khalil is one of the more athletic Jacksons, and you're talking about a family that is, Florida royalty, and he was, Willie was talking about how he's a tremendous athlete, hands for days, he can get down the field, but obviously you would like to see it turn into yards after catch too. The acrobatic catches are nice. They certainly bought Florida out a few times, but it was nice to see him kind of catch a ball in stride and turn it upfield for 30 yards.
No, I definitely agree. And I guess like it would be nice to have these guys, like each guy have like an individual specialty, deep shot. So not everybody's doing the same thing, and I think we'll end up having that type of diversity in the room. But we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. Mostly, I want to see these guys block. Wide receivers need to be able to block, especially with these passes in the flat. Be able to hold your blocking and allow these guys to get down the field.
That's such a Billy G thing too. I think Jaquavian Frazier's told us this in the press availability. Eugene might have too, and Chimere DK talked about this too. It's if you don't block, you don't get the rock. That's their saying. Receiver room at Florida. That's such a Billy G thing. It was the thing from when he was here in the Urban Meyer era. You don't block, you're not going to get the football, and it's certainly something that, especially if you have a quarterback like Lagway, who can, if he gets in space, he's going to need some blocks. The receiver room is going to be very critical in that too. It is something that Billy G's emphasized. You kind of saw that in the recruiting when Dan Mullen was here. They went after a lot of big receivers, slower guys, completely 180 with Nate. He likes the quick, twitchy guys, a little bit smaller, but that doesn't change the importance of blocking, and they're definitely going to have to keep at that.
No, see, when I was playing football in high school, my wide receivers coach went a step further. It wasn't if you don't block, you don't get the rock. It was if you don't block, you don't play.
Yeah.
Period. In the rock, you ain't getting in the game if you ain't blocking. Or if you see you in the game, you miss a block or you ain't blocking, you got pulled for the rest of the game.
Hey, this man, AB was blocking like Jason Kelsey, bro.
Look, especially I had to, because most of the runs pretty much went my way anyway. So
this man was blocking like he was prime Tony Baselli out there, wide receiver.
Look, I got the rock too though because of.
I feel like all these guys can low key block at a pretty solid rate, like
a solid clip.
Yeah, it was even Montreal too. He kind of had his struggles a little bit.
He did,
but they weren't as glaring as some of Trevor's misses. And again, I'm not trying to shame Trevor Etienne at all. He was a good running back for Florida. He obviously was like the home run hitter that could get it down the field. And there were definitely times last season where, at least me personally, I was like, why is Montreal starting over Trevor? Why did they wait to the FSU game? So that's certainly not to, shame Etienne and anything. He's still a pretty good running back, but he had his struggles blocking, and that was evident. But Jaden Baugh can. Katie Daniels can. And they can also catch out of the backfield. So the recruiting with the running back room this year, they did that with a purpose, especially going after Katie Daniels with the production he had in high school. And then with Etienne leaving another scholarship spot at running back, opening up and going all in at Jaden Baugh. They did that with the purpose. And I think that it's going to be better with the pass blocking too. Because Etienne, it was something that he consistently worked on too. He talked about it in press conferences where, he was working on pass protection. Off-season work, his focus was pass protection. And it just wasn't great last year. So, you hope that it can be better. I think it's going to be a little bit better.
Montreal, I think that there's some improvement there for him. But with the other guys, I think that there's a lot of trust that they can do that part of the job.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, another guy that I was impressed by was Jacoby. Jacoby was looking good, bro. Honestly.
I saw some tweets calling for him and Anthony Rubio to get carries, and I was like, up the brakes a little bit, but he had a couple good runs. He had a couple really good runs. There's no denying that. He's got
those linebackers definitely. The linebackers, they definitely have gotten reps on physical running backs. That's what I'll say. They definitely have gotten the reps.
It shows.
City.
Oh
my God. I'm ready to get into defense though, bro.
Oh, I am all there with you, brother.
Defense.
I will say this, and this is the most obvious thing I noticed about this defense. The tackling is vastly improved, and it was glorious to see that, especially from the secondary.
I was about to say, especially the secondary. That was my biggest thing. Can you come down and make a tackle? And these guys absolutely making tackles. I mean, Greg Smith, after he made a pretty big tackle, I'm like, dang, and he's a big kid. Bridges will, he'll tackle you. Denson, we know Denson's tough. Denson will come downhill and make a big play if need be. And then they tackle.
Hey, hold on, Jerry. Hold on. I didn't cut you off. Where's Street Denson from? What three numbers?
Orange Park.
All right, bro.
Bartram.
Hey, man. Those are the best tacklers in the game. Those are the best tacklers, bro.
And speaking of another tackler, also from that area code that I love so much, Mr. Grayson Pup Howard, Jackson High School royalty. Duval. That boy looked good in spring as a linebacker, man.
He was phenomenal. He was everything that we've been told, and we kind of got to see in practice and then some. And the big thing with him, again, is kind of the same thing with Aiden Mizell at the receiver. He took advantage of snaps and opportunities because of other injuries in the room. With Shamar and Wingo being out, and then Miles Graham ended up not being able to go when they tried to get him to go. He ended up having back surgery. Pup Howard became LB1. That was his role. And he was phenomenal on Saturday. He showed, I don't think that we've seen this east to west type of running from a linebacker in a minute. He was great out there, and he put a couple big hits too. It's definitely, he brought some fire out on the defense, and it was exciting to see. Another guy I was impressed with was Aaron Gates. He looked great at the start.
Yeah.
Guy that the coaches have always felt like, and again, he was a Mullen guy. He is a guy that Dan Mullen wanted. Napier came in, saw him, and was like, hey, you're still committed. We like you. If you want to stay, by all means, stay. Battled an injury last year, and he's taking advantage of that open star position too, kind of battling with Sharif Denson a little bit. But I think he's more than likely going to be the starter there. The coaches love him. He had a great spring game. I know he had I think he gave up the one touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was on the field for the Mizell touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. But he was tackling fantastically. He was in the backfield making plays. He was getting horizontal, and I was impressed with what he brought to the table too on Saturday.
How do we feel about Bridges and Asa?
Bridges, there's a lot of experience. Asa with that too. Bridges in space against it was Trey Wilson's touchdown. He kind of got cooked a little bit. Very, very hard to not get cooked. Okay, no touchdowns on Gates. I thought he was on for one of them. But again, I'm still impressed with what he was able to do. But Bridges, it's very hard to not get cooked by Trey Wilson. It was
that's not a
yeah, very hard.
Yes, that's just.
And he was
good take, Jay.
But I think that there's a lot of veteran experience too that they've been missing in the safety room for a while, because even with the veterans that they had the last 2 years, your veterans in the room were Trey Dean and Rashad Torrance.
AB's favorite safety.
Hey, them
So
boys went to the combine and ran like defensive line. That was crazy.
Who's my favorite safety?
Trinity,
A Super Bowl champion. A Super Bowl champion. How about that?
Yeah, he got his hardware.
We're not gonna get into this again, man.
But there's a lot of veteran experience that I think that Florida fans and the coaches can be confident into. And Asa Turner is a tremendous tackler. And you're talking about two guys who not only have good experience, they played at really good programs, really successful programs. Asa Turner was in a national championship game last year.
Yeah.
I don't think enough people are talking about what that experience does as a type of player coach role. You don't think that Jordan Castell and Bryce Thornton and Greg Smith and all those guys aren't going to benefit from having a guy in the room that has played for 5 years and has been to a near Six Bowl game and a national championship game? That's something that they can help with those guys and teach them what it's like to be a successful defensive back at a successful program. And that's, there's a lot of things that they can do with that. I don't know. I may have misspoken about the Gates. I thought he was on the field for one of the touchdowns, either Spirito or the one with Mizell.
He said those are the only 3 that scored.
Yeah, I thought he was on for one. I may have been mistaken. But again, the big thing with the defensive backs has been they needed improvement in tackling, and we saw that on Saturday. We saw a lot of that on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because something you really want to see. Because last year there were a lot of moments where it was like, guys, do you even want to tackle? They
don't want to tackle old buddy from Kentucky.
Hey man, we gonna leave that in the past. But anyway, like even a guy like Grayson Howard, like he was running side to sideline. He was a maniac out there. And when he did come up there and tackle you, it wasn't like, oh hey, I'm just gonna wrap you up nice and get you down the ground. No, he was thumping you. That's something that they need. They need some type of physical edge out there, and they missed that for a while. So that's really nice to see. And the DBs also pitching in, doing their part, which is something you never hear about with DBs very often, especially corners. Like their willingness to tackle. I saw a lot of willingness from every guy who stepped onto that field that they were going to go out there, get in the mix, obviously do their job in the back end coverage to the best of their ability, but they were going out there to actually go out there and make tackles and actually contribute in that part of the field. So that's a positive. That's a big step in the right direction. So I'm really glad to see that.
Look, I don't want to speak too soon, but Jakeem Jackson, bro.
Hey man,
Aiden Mizell's like a state champ track star, right? Jakeem was not letting him beat him at all. Like it was actually crazy to watch.
He had him locked up on the first play of the game. DJ tried to go deep and had him stride for stride and went up and broke.
Stride for stride.
It was phenomenal. And again, Aiden Mizell, not only is he a verified track speed and he's obviously a phenomenal runner, he gets that from his parents who ran track UF. So, he's got that in his blood. Like he's the fastest guy on the team probably. And Jackson was able to kind of lock him up and then break up a pass on the first play of the game.
Cam, not anymore. He isn't.
Hey, bro, Aiden. We had Aiden on here talking, bro. He said he's the fastest.
He said he was, but the rumor out there is Tank Hawkins got a different kind of speed.
They were I think Zach Albuquerque was asking all the receivers in the press conferences, and they didn't give away too much, but the running 2 favorites were Tank and Aiden Mizell. At that point, some of the guys, it was flip a coin, but those are the running 2 favorites for fastest on the team.
And Lord knows I believe it. You saw it a little bit. I know obviously with kickoff returns, they weren't really doing much. But you saw the get off when Tank Hawkins had opportunities to get back there. It was real.
Hey, bro,
it was real.
Jakeem got to be like top 5, top 6 because the kid is fast. He's extremely fast.
Comment up for you. Marcus, Jerry, y'all finna laugh.
Oh, no.
I didn't realize not a lot of people knew this. Anthony Rubio is Marco Rubio's son. Y'all know that, right?
Huh?
I may have heard some things about that.
I have no idea.
Marco Rubio, his son's Anthony Rubio.
Yeah.
Bro.
I did not realize that not a lot of people knew that. Yeah.
I had no idea. That
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many people just did not know that until he got carries in the spring game. And Zach Goodall tweeted it. I forget who else tweeted it, but we were talking about. Wait a second, that's Marco Rubio's son, and yeah, that's Marco Rubio's a UF alum, if I'm not mistaken. I think he went to law school, so it doesn't surprise me that his son's at UF. But yeah, that's I'm in one of Marco Rubio's Twitter lists, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
I got one of that notifications, and I was like, interesting. That's one that you don't get every day. But
This man Cam's a celebrity, bro.
Hey,
Right?
it's the hair. It's the Skinner hair,
By the way, real quick piece of Gator news. Shout out former women's basketball player Melania Correa went 27th overall tonight in the draft.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
shout
Good.
her, I don't know who took her. I got to see. I'm actually going to see that right now. I think I want to say, let me look at it. 27. The Indiana Fever.
Okay.
That's a good draft.
Nice.
That's a good draft for the Fever.
So
They got a good core. Aaliyah Boston is there too, right?
yeah, Leah
Mhm.
Boston there.
Kevin Clark straight down.
Clark
Yeah,
went
Cameron.
number one all of them. So hey, they got a nice little squad there. So shout out to her.
Hey, I want to ask y'all. I want to ask y'all about this. So we got Cersei, and then you look out there, man. LJ McCray.
That man is not
He
human.
looks the part. He looks the part and plays the part.
Is not human.
And then the other kid that transferred in, the JUCO guy, he also looks tremendous out there
Right.
at Ed Gross. Yeah, so I think we have a lot of depth there this year, man.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because we didn't get to see Justice Boone because he's been hurt
Mhm.
all spring, and
Yep.
so we see him. And I think LJ's kind of had a quiet spring. The big story in that room has been TJ Searcy coming back,
Mhm.
and Justice Boone still recovering. But for people that he went under the radar this spring, he kind of proved them wrong in the spring game. He had he shook off Devin Manuel and put a hit in the
He sure
backfield.
did.
That was a really good play. Now, granted, was a third string left tackle. Austin Barber's going to be at left tackle, and Cam Waits, when he's healthy, is going to be behind him. But it doesn't make it any less impressive game considering, Devin Manuel's a guy with SEC experience at Arkansas. He's a veteran guy, and a true freshman just lit him up. Let's be honest with that. LJ McCray beat him in every step and every facet on that rep. But again, I think that there's a lot of positives in that room too because of the depth. That's something that you see this entire team is the depth is.
Yo, yes, Rob. Who was 48, bro?
Yeah, who
Quincy
was that?
Ivory.
That's Ivory,
Yeah, he was. He joined the team last year. I think he's a walk-on.
bro.
I think he was tied with Pup for leads in the tackle, like leading tackles in the spring game. I think they both had 6.
Yeah,
He was
he
a
was.
walk-on, correct?
I'm sorry?
So he was a walk-on, right?
If I'm not mistaken, he joined the team last year. I know that. He didn't really get to play last year, but he joined the team last
He
I
wasn't.
think-
Could have fooled me. He like he belongs.
year. Yeah,
he
two
was
for
balling.
Boston and 1.5 sacks. And yeah, he had a really good spring game too. But again, what does this look like with Justice Boone coming back when
Mhm.
he can get healthy? I think TJ is the guy on the outside, just with his length and his production. You can't keep a guy like that off the field.
No.
But LJ's going to see the
Yeah.
field. He's going to see the field. They're going to finally have a rotation. Again, you get war flashbacks with Javon Dexter having to play 65 snaps a game.
Oh,
At
God.
the interior.
Bro was gassed.
And
But that was the LeBron meme. No
felt
help.
so bad for him, man, just because he truly was giving it his all, but by the fourth quarter, it took his toll. You don't have that anymore now with Florida. You finally have a true rotation where you can sub guys in and out, both on the outside and the inside. I think that's going to open up a lot of opportunities with having a consistent pass rush, finally getting tackles on the edge, and just overall consistency of that unit. And they just haven't had that consistency. You saw guys kind of backing away from tackles all on defense. The pass rush numbers were just flat out terrible. Prinsley was the best pass rusher on the team, but some of his numbers were they were good, but they weren't anything super, super, super fantastic that Florida's used to having from an edge rusher. Now that you finally have the depth, you can kind of take the weight off of the other guys' shoulders, and they can get some rotation in. And I think that's going to go a long way with the pass rush and also creating turnovers too, because they just have been terrible at that the last few years too.
They were one of the worst in the country by a long shot last year with first and turnovers.
They only had 3 picks last year, and it was Devin Moore, Jordan Castell, and Miguel Mitchell.
Yeah.
That's just not good. You got to get more, and that comes with a pass rush too. If guys can create havoc in the backfield, it's going to open up opportunities for those defensive backs.
Yeah, this year for sure, man. And then we got the rotation inside, like we said. Banks had a solid game. Cam, you got Tyreek Sapp, you got Dez. We have a few guys. I think there's a freshman. What's the kid's name? Moreau or something like that.
And Mackay.
Yeah, we got him. So I'm super excited about the front seven for the first time.
Don't forget too, Kelby Collins has moved inside. And Kelby talked about this in his spring availability. He only spoke to us once, but this seems to be a permanent change that he's going to be, as long as he's in Gainesville, and they've got the numbers, he's going to be inside for the long run with Gerald Chapman and that group. So how does he do with that transition? Can he take some snaps from some guys? Because we know what type of player he could be and the production he could have.
Yeah.
Still a move because he was very productive on the outside, and now they're asking him to move inside. But again, he's a guy too that he's going to be in the rotation. Joey Slackman is going to be in the too. The one thing with Slackman is he had that elbow injury that kind of stuttered his start at the beginning of spring. But I heard that he had a really good camp, and he could be a contender to start when it's all said and done, and he's fully healthy. He just kind of fell behind a little bit in spring because he was delayed with an injury. But again, they finally have a rotation at defensive line. They haven't had one in years. And this is something that Gator fans should be excited about.
We got Lions too. Lions got the second division.
Yeah, Jahar Lions. Every time he got chances, he made plays.
He's a Brevard County guy. He's a Vieira alum, the 3-2-1. So I got to love my 3-2-1 guys.
That's the goal. That's the objective.
Yeah.
Because finally, good Lord, there's talent in this room, both on the outside and the inside. Like you saw guys coming in making plays. Like I Jamar Lyons, every time we saw him come in, he had the opportunity to play. He played well. Was sparingly, sure, but he made the most of his snaps. He made the most of his minutes, and that's all you could ask for out of some guys, especially guys deeper down in the room. So again, and Justice Boone still is not back. So how is it going to look then?
Right.
Hopefully he's back healthy. He's back with the explosiveness that we know he has and the play strength that he plays with. And the guys behind him can come in and get in where they fit in, more or less. And I'm just damn happy that we have actual talent in these rooms again.
Bro, same, bro.
I know I've said it a couple of times, but thank the Lord.
Right.
Yeah.
And for people that don't get this reference here, NASCAR package, the New York Giants, I'm bringing this up because he's a Giants fan, it definitely vividly remembers this. So what that is basically what this was here. O.C. Umenyor, Justin Tuck, Michael Strahan, and Jason Pierre-Paul. You have 4 defensive ends out there basically being pass rushers. And because they're great pass rushers and have good speed and can get to the quarterback, it's a different look for the offensive line. And he's actually right on this. We kind of do have a NASCAR package if you think about it. Because you can put those guys out there, get to the quarterback, and hey, that changes the game right there. And it's how they beat the Patriots and won the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Again, pressure creates opportunity. That's the generic saying with the defense. If you create pressure, you have a really good chance to win the football game. They weren't able to create pressure really consistently the last 2 years. I like that. I'm a big Skinner guy. I love the Van Zant reference, man.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.
I just listened to Street Drivers today on vinyl, so it was a big Skinner guy. But the thing with the defensive line again is pressure creating opportunity. They didn't get a lot of pressure the last 2 years consistently, really outside of Antoine Powell-Ryland, and he hightailed it out of Florida the first chance he could get. And now you finally feel like with TJ Searcy, in the production that he had. The transfer addition of Joey Slackman and Cam Jackson also, being a transfer guy from last year. Caleb Banks and just the size that he brings to the table. The emergence of some of the young guys like Jamari Lyons, Kelby Collins. Cam James is another guy too who could be in the rotation. There's a lot of opportunity to create pressure, and in turn that should create turnovers, which turnovers wins football games, and Florida did not get a lot of turnovers last year. They didn't win a lot of football games last year. So we'll see, but I think that this is a room that Florida could be really excited about.
Yeah, I do like the thing about all these guys that we all named. So you have the Cam Jacksons, the Caleb Banks. Those guys have size, and you have Kelby Collins coming in the room, the Jamari Lyons, the Cersei. These guys have wiggle, and they have the ability to beat you with speed and speed to power, these type of things. So guys with versatility, guys that fill all different type of roles, some jack of all trades. Like, this is a very versatile room. There's guys who fill specific needs and specific situations in game. So that's the biggest thing for me also, outside of just having guys that can simply rush the passer and win. You also have the big hog mollies, which you need.
Yeah, but and we're not even. I really don't even want to get into special teams because we all know how bad that was.
You must get into special teams. You said so much good.
The one positive I'll say is Trace Mack made all of his kicks. He's going to be the kicker.
Yeah, that's true.
Is the backup. If Trey and Tyreek Sapp, we did forget about him. He'll once he'll be in the rotation, he'll be a contender to start again just because of his veteran presence. He's a leader in the room. But with special teams, Hunter Smith is the backup. Trace Mack is the starter. Thank God. I think Hunter Smith. Hunter Smith had a lot of. They're just. I don't really know what happened. He was also punting for the Orange team. I don't really know. It was a weird thing. But Trace Mack made all of his kicks. Hopefully he can make those kicks in an in-game setting. If Jeremy Crawshaw can continue doing what he's good at, and it's the long punts, the booms without having the shanks, and the return game too. Florida finally has some guys who can be contenders to return. The 10 guys on the field. I don't care that it's a spring game. You can't have that in a spring game, man.
No, but that was terrible.
It's I don't know what happened there. Florida hired another special teams guy to help out Chris Couch. I don't know what they can do on the field because they're only analysts. I know that they're very limited in what they can do, and that a lot of the on-field coaching is done and split up by the individual position coaches. But something's got to give with the special teams, man. They've got to figure out something to where if you can't get 11 guys on the field, you have a big issue. And they couldn't get 11 guys on the field for a play in the spring game. It's a spring game. You can control what's done. You can do that. So,
which we saw at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, there is one idea I could come up with, but
get a real special teams coach.
I don't think Billy will listen. I mean, is there really a need for 2 offensive line coaches?
That's what everyone was looking at too when Stapleton left for the NFL. Stapleton leaving to the NFL wasn't a surprise. He's wanted an NFL job for a while. And so I wasn't surprised that they hired another offensive line coach just because that's just, Billy really likes his system and what his system does. That being said, I don't know how you see the special teams issues from the year before, and the only change you make is hiring another analyst. That's where I'm going to be critical about that. Something's got to give with the organization of special teams. And who knows, maybe this spring game was just a fluke and they've been fine throughout spring. But something's got to give where when, again, the lights turn on, you can't have the mistakes like that. Even if the mistake is it's not like Florida was going to block the kick anyways. But just the dynamics of if you can't get 11 guys on the field, what are you doing? I know that one probably isn't going to make a difference on a field goal block, but you got to have 11 guys on the field anyway.
It's simple math. You're University of Florida. I know you can count.
Yeah. So, I think everyone was kind of maybe not surprised, but a little bit like this was your opportunity to hire a special teams guy, and you got another offensive line coach. Good luck.
Yeah, it's
But,
like, bro.
Again, it's only spring. Just wait and see. But I definitely was I wasn't surprised that they went with another offensive line coach, but I thought that was the best opportunity to go and get your special teams coordinator, or at the very least, maybe promoting Chris Couch to an on-field role where he can finally talk to the players and be an actual coach rather than an analyst. Maybe that works. I don't know, but the analyst thing is so weird because the analysts can only do so much coaching, and they're very limited in how much that they can talk to players on the field in the middle of the game. So, and that held Florida back, and unless they figure something out, it's going to continue to hold them back on special teams.
Yeah, it's like count to 11. Which guys are on the field wearing the same jersey number? Don't have one of them on the field, or switch the number like you're supposed to. If you insist on having them there, line up correctly. Have the correct amount of guys lined up on the kickoff team. Like, this is just simple rudimentary stuff that any major D1 program worth their salt should be able to solve. And for like a year and a half, 2 years, we still can't do it. And I don't get it. Like, brother, Billy, William, Willie, Bill, it's okay. I promise, brother, it's okay to have a real special teams coach.
Bro's
it's
allergic.
Okay to have somebody out there that can physically talk to the players on the field and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Or when they notice they have 10 out there, oh shit, we have 10. Get a guy out there. Like, this shouldn't be this difficult.
They go out there and get set up, and it's 10 guys. Nobody said anything.
It's just no counting, just vibes.
But I will bring this up just because I got a video of it. Before the timeout, when they tried to ice Trey Smack, the kicking team only had 10 guys on the field, and a guy ran on late onto the edge. Yeah. So it happened. Not a lot of people talked about it because, again, the video evidence was the 10 guys on the field goal block. But this happened in the spring game. Trey Smack was lining up for the game-winning field goal, which Billy helped him out a little bit with by adding timeouts.
A little bit?
100%.
For sure.
Talked about that. But when Trey Smack was lining up for the field goal, the kicking team only had 10 guys. Another guy ran on late. He got set, and then the orange team tried to ice Trey Smack. That happened in the spring game. So, again, like, Dan Mullen had Greg Knox run his special teams. And say what you want about the special teams under Dan Mullen because it wasn't great. But they had 11 guys on the field each time.
I'll take that. Shoot.
They got their 11 on there. So,
Oh, my
God. Again, if you can't get 11 guys on the field, you got problems. So they've got to figure out something with the special teams and the dynamic of it. From my understanding, what it is Chris Couch and the new guy that they just hired from the Patriots. They're more of like a logistics special teams type of thing. A lot of tape watching, game planning, maybe picking out who's in what spot in certain, special teams packages and whatnot. And then the various on-field assistant coaches have individual roles with game day special team stuff. But again, if you have two special teams guys, you're going to make them analysts, and then they're going to be issues. And Florida hasn't found a way to fix them just yet. So, there were positives with the special team. Trey Smack making all of his kicks. He didn't do that in the spring game last year. The return game looks pretty good. But again, the outward notion of special team struggles, I think Florida's kind of losing that PR battle with the special teams because of they can't get 11 guys on the field. And in the spring game that you can script, you can't get 11 guys on the field. Come on, man. Like,
it's about you don't have to lose. It's very simple stuff. Like, what are we doing? But anyways, let's talk about the big, giant, orange and blue elephant in the room at the end of the spring game. The great Orange team heist.
I know those boys, man. They were pressed
DJ was
watching that on the sideline.
DJ was if you watch the game like on television,
It,
they showed the end of they showed DJ Langway. He was pissed.
so it's funny. So I wasn't in the press box. Oh, Jerry's gone again.
Oh, that damn like,
It's tough,
He did
man.
his thing.
It's tough getting 4 guys on a podcast, you know. But so we weren't in the press conference or in the press box for that. They let us go on the field, and we were kind of sitting where those bleachers where the recruits sit behind the end zone. So I didn't have a really good view on the Arliss catch. Was that a catch, or did he actually drop it?
No, he caught it.
Okay. So Billy mentioned in the press conference that a coaching thing for Arliss is in a situation like that, because I guess Arliss rolled over a couple times after making the catch. Instead of rolling over, just get down, get the ball to the official, and get lined up. Because I guess he wasted a second or two on that. But again, the weird thing with adding timeouts for each team, they took a timeout away from one team. They gave the timeout to the blue team. There definitely was something weird with the clock. Billy was asked about that in the press conference about the final drive, and he said that he wanted to give both teams a 2-minute drill opportunity. So I guess that kind of had something to do with it. But, man, you do feel for the orange team. Now, granted, let's be real. They got 3 free points from a practice session. That's a part of why it was only a 2-point win instead of a 5-point win for the blue team. Because they won an overtime period on Thursday's practice. They did at the end of the practice, they did an overtime. Whoever won the overtime would get 3 points going into the spring game. I guess DJ Lagway had a really good overtime session. Orange team won. So they actually started the game 3-0. So they got 3 free points off of that. So that's part of it, too, that I think, you talk about the orange team getting gypped. They got helped out a little bit, too, because of winning that practice session. But, they still had to eat bunless hot dogs and beans at practice today. They didn't get the steak and legs like the blue team got. And part of that, too, is definitely there was some fixing going on there.
Chicken wings, steak. I'm like, hold on a minute.
I'm telling you right now, Graham Mertz put in the call.
He did put in the call, bro.
He put in the call.
Yeah, you saw. I think it was P.J. Abrams posted on. Yeah, that's also true too.
Exactly. See, y'all don't find that suspicious?
A lot of points on the board on Saturday too.
I'm proud about you. Wow, you should have thought about that right there.
He left a lot of points on the board on Saturday. They also got new J's. Do you all see? I think it was T.J. Abrams' Instagram story today. They got some nice black shoes today. Some brand new. Orange team didn't get that, so they're definitely feel for the orange team because they missed out on a lot due to some fishy stuff at the end of the game. But again, they had their opportunities too. They missed 3 field goals. They started the game with a 3-0 lead. Got to take advantage of those opportunities.
Hey, man. All I know is Graham Mertz put in the call for that extra little drive. And you got DJ Lagway's squad getting a bank teller for a kicker. You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
Hey, look, man.
Like DeMarcus Cousins say, I hope the world can see now what's really going on. It's getting ridiculous.
Hey, Marcus. Hey, give him 3 points. He's the only 3 points you're gonna get this whole entire game.
All right, he said you'll get this and you'll like it.
Shout out to Mobile, Alabama's own DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah,
that was a little suspect.
It was crazy.
It's getting ridiculous.
That was crazy. Just the outlook on moving forward. You got all summer to get better, and then you got fall camp coming up. We expect some departures, but we expect Florida to get some guys from the portal as well. So, seems still going to look a little bit different going into the fall when you think about it. So, it's not a finished product. I mean, spring game wasn't perfect, but it was sort of just a glimpse of where we're at now, and now you have a chance to add to the team and just work and clean up some things that may not have been great to watch over the spring game. You can clean those things up, and hey, never know. I know the schedule is brutal. We all know the schedule is brutal. We don't know what Florida did to the football gods to deserve this, but clearly they pissed them off in some kind of way because this schedule right here is just first of all, it's cruel and unusual punishment. Second of all, you'll get Georgia's kind of schedule. Why we got to have it? Like that ain't fair.
Hey man, the road less traveled is what it is.
Yep.
But I mean, there was some positives. So I'm not gonna do any record predictions, but I will say I feel like even from what I saw this spring, feel like the team is in a much better place now than they were when they ended the season.
Now that I do agree with though. In terms of the talent, you see it's there.
There's some positives there.
And again, as the saying goes, if you have a good quarterback, you have a chance in every game. Florida's got two of them. The defensive back room looks much improved with tackling. And even considering all the struggles that they had, there were plenty of games the last 2 years where it's a one-possession game that if Florida just has the right guys or they have just a little bit more juice, they could win that game. And that was evident last year too. I think really outside of the LSU, Georgia, and Kentucky game, they had chances. And even in the LSU game too, they were fighting towards the end. Even in the Georgia game, they had an early lead and they went away from their type of football and Georgia took advantage of it. They had a 12-0 lead against FSU. They were 4th and 17 away from beating Missouri. Utah, they were down the field so many times and penalties and turnovers killed them. So, you're talking about if momentum swings in their favor 2 or 3 more times last year, we're having a completely different conversation than we're having now. Yeah. Same thing too in Napier's first year in 2022 with Richardson. You're talking about a Jason Marshall muff punt recovered for a touchdown by Vanderbilt away from winning that game. You're talking in the Tennessee game, they went for 2 a couple times. They didn't get them. They also missed a field goal, and they still only lost by 5. And they had a Hail Mary chance at the end of the game too. Kentucky, they were in that game even with Anthony Richardson struggling. So not to bring up old wounds from 2 years ago, but there were so many times the last 2 years where if they just had 1 or 2 plays go their way, they're back-to-back 8-win seasons. And the next question is, hey, is that enough for Billy Napier to get into this expanded playoff or not? Those plays go in Florida's favor. That's the conversation we're having this year. They didn't go their favor, and now the conversation is how, is this team actually improved, or is it going to be another 5 or 6 win season?
That's a tremendous perspective to have, Cam. Definitely.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that, man.
There's so many opportunities that they had the last 2 years, and they slipped away, and conversation is so different than what it could have been. It's the truth.
Comes down to, I think, for the most part, tackling, special teams, and in-game decision-making.
Yeah.
Dumb loses games more than smart wins it.
Yep.
And there were a lot of times where we were just dumb in situational football.
Missouri, bro. Oh, my God.
Hey, man. I feel so much more better about it because genuinely looking at the roster and looking at the team up close, there is genuine improvement in very important spots.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is. The defensive line looks much improved. There's more bodies there. Your quarterback's not going to be the reason why you lose many games. Like you got 2 of them now. In the wide receiver room, What do you say?
I think
I was just saying, like the quarterback wasn't even a problem last year. Like when we put it together.
Yeah, he wasn't.
No,
he was never the problem.
Yep.
And I think the thing with this year too, and you talked about the schedule, is if the schedule wasn't as brutal as it is, you're talking with people predicting maybe Florida could get 8 or 9 wins. But the problem is they play pretty much every hard team but Alabama in the SEC.
Yep.
And they got to play UCF and Miami. So it's not like you get those cupcake games that you usually get in out of conference, and you still have to finish through the season against Florida State, which, say what you want about Florida State, they're a better program right now than Florida is.
Mhm.
I think Florida's catching up in the FSU. They've lost a lot of guys last year that they have to account for. So I don't really know what their the state of the program is right now, just because they lost so many productive guys. But again, that game usually is a dogfight, whether you're the number one team in the country or you're 4-8. Like it's always a dogfight. So if the schedule wasn't as brutal as it is, I think people would have a little bit more of a positive outlook on this Florida team. But it is a brutal schedule, and the reality is there are a lot of teams right now on that Florida schedule who have a more talent, a little bit more veteran experience than they do. Florida's got a lot of new guys that they're trying to fit into the right piece and see where they go from there.
I will say the one silver lining of the schedule being so difficult is that, yeah, you're a young team, and yes, the expectations aren't very high, but the talent is there. And there's something to look forward to every single Saturday. There's no cupcakes where you could just, you can have the opportunity to play everybody on the team. No. You're actually actively looking forward and looking up, and there's competition every Saturday that you can still get up for and get ready for, and not just have the opportunity to just slack off for a week or two. No, there's a real chance for them to show people that, yeah, we are a better team. Don't let last year fool you. Like, we are getting better. We are on the way up, and it gives the fan base optimism. It gives themselves optimism, because Lord knows what people try to put Billy Napier on the hot seat. He needs it.
We win 6 or 7 games against. We have the opportunity to beat good teams all year. You beat LSU. You beat Miami. You beat UCF. You beat Florida State. You just never know, man.
And the other thing about it is, this happens every year in every sport. You don't know how good some of these teams are actually going to be by the time you get to them. You don't know.
Yeah.
This is very true. And Marcus basically just said it. Think about that right there. That's a lot of the replace. Now, they did get an Isaiah Bond out of the portal, so that helps. So, and they're starting running. They bring back CJ Baxter. So they good.
They recruited well, so they could probably plug some guys in. But again, you don't know.
No, we know they good at running back. I'd say that now.
That definitely. You have a quarterback returning Quinn Ewers, so that's a feather in the cap.
And the good thing with Florida too is, as bad as last year was and as frustrating as it was, a lot of the freshmen that got to play, it was such valuable experience for them. Not to mention they were productive in that valuable experience. It wasn't like you were just kind of throwing a guy to the fire and he was really bad and now he's looking for a bounce back sophomore year. We're talking Jordan Castell was the leading tackler on the team. Trey Wilson was probably Florida's best receiver, even with Pearsall in the room. He was their big dynamic X factor. Jakeem Jackson had a pretty good year when he was in. I know Jaden Robinson got in the season late, and he had some good tackles. Kelby Collins and TJ Searcy were great in their roles. So you're talking about a lot of freshmen who, the year was bad on paper because they went 5-7. They lost a lot of winnable games. But the guys who are going to be contributors on this year's team were really good last year. And now you kind of weeded out some of the bad spots and you replace them with your guys. Who knows? You never know. But it's definitely still an uphill battle for them, just because they're still I know that they have a lot of in-game experience. But again, there's a lot of question marks too, which is how everyone's going to play. So we'll just have to wait and see. And obviously the schedule makes everything a little bit more difficult.
See, I bring this up. You brought up Jaden Robinson. I bring up the fact that he's from Lake City, Columbia. Their high school team his senior year came to Pensacola for a playoff game. They played Escambia High School. So I went to that game, braved the elements. It was cold as hell out there. So I braved the elements and watched this kid play.
He's good.
That podcast we did that very next week, that Monday, I told these two, we got us one.
Yeah.
It was all over the field, had like 12 tackles. I think he had 2 sacks.
Yeah.
He had a fumble recovery, and he had a pick 6.
Yeah.
In the game.
I saw him play once. He actually played Buchholz. Columbia opened up the season at Buchholz, so he played. That was when it was before Miles transferred there. So Creed Whittemore was the quarterback. Gavin Hill was still there. Kendall Jackson was a junior. They had Jaron Hamilton was a receiver. He's at Alabama now. So that was a really good Buchholz team. And Buchholz put a whipping on Columbia, but Jaden had a really good game. I remember Buchholz had Creed Whittemore returning punts as their quarterback too. And Jaden put a lick on him. And that was when Creed was still committed to UF. And Jaden put a hit on him. And there was some smack talking between the two. And it's like, dang, these are future teammates. And Jaden's not afraid to just put a licking on a guy. And I was really impressed watching him in that game too. And again, the linebacker room had some veterans in it last year, so he kind of, was kind of stuck behind. But with some injuries, he had to step up, and he had a pretty good year when it was all said and done. And he's had a kind of a positively quiet spring. He hasn't. The Pup Howard has been the guy at linebacker, but Jaden Robinson has been pretty effective when he's been able to get snaps.
Yeah, and that's what we all want to see. Marcus,
always a good thing. Like just having guys who can come in when the number's called and produce, and don't look like they're lost out there. That's always a positive because with linebackers, you're playing multiple of them a game regardless. The guys are going to probably rotate in and have different roles out there. So again, Jaden Robinson being a guy that's good, Pup Howard coming in as a transfer and showing that he's talented and he can really go, and hopefully Shamar James and Derek Wingo are healthy. I like this room quite a bit.
And people forget too with Miles Graham with his back injury, he when he transferred to Buchholz, he was that team. He made or break that Buchholz Bobcats team last year. And you're talking about a guy who was the starting middle linebacker, the number one linebacker in the country, and he's also their backup running back and their third down package running back. He'd go run for a 60-yard touchdown, get a quick water break, and then he'd go back on field on defense. So the back injury, I don't think it's a major concern. He'll be back by fall, but I think people forget too, because he didn't get to play this spring, he's a contender to get early playing time, and he probably should get early playing time.
I'll take it.
Yep. So, man, this has been a great episode. Y'all got any final thoughts before we wrap it up here?
Learn how to count to 10, please. Count to 11. Count to 11.
Mistake.
I'll do it in two languages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
The fact that you even had to count with fingers.
Hey, look, man. Whenever.
Oh, Lord.
Can't get 11 guys on for a field goal block. Can't get 4 guys on for a podcast.
Jerry looks like an album cover straight out like 2018, don't he?
That's it, Jerry. Look, we putting the GoFundMe out right now. That's
you can't be on a potato, dog. We can't do this.
Starting to GoFundMe right now. Like that's it, man. Like get a new laptop. He frozen again.
He looks like
every time we talk about special teams. I'm just gonna pose like that. But anyways, look, man, I think as Gator fans, if you're at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, you need to hold Billy accountable. If there are 10 players on the field, everybody got to scream something like 11 or something. Somebody got to count, bro.
No, just say the name of Chris Brown's latest album, 11-11. Just say that.
That's crazy.
Well, it's called 11-11. I mean, you need 11 guys on the field.
Like 11 person, like count to 11 special teams, please. I don't ask for much. Just get the requisite amount of people on the field consistently.
That would be nice. Okay, Jerry, that's it.
So quick rundown. 11 guys on special teams. Jerry needs to get a new laptop, and this team could be pretty good this year if all things go positively. There's a quick rundown for the night.
There it is.
Jalen Wiggins said 9-3. Hey, Jalen, we gonna hold you to that.
We're gonna hold you to that, bro.
Spurrier had not really a prediction, but like if everything could go right, he said 8-4 was on the table. It was something like that too. I don't want to say he predicted Florida to go 8-4, but he said that 8 wins was certainly on the table, and if they get 8 wins, you're gonna have a lot of happy people in Gainesville, which he's not wrong. There are people who'd kill to get 8 wins, so I think it's on the table this year. They just have to have a lot of things go right.
Right. I agree. Well, Cam, it was great having you on the podcast. First time on here. We definitely got to get you back on again soon.
Yes, sir.
Let everybody know where they can follow you and where and if you want to break any news, where you can be headed next.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at CamParker25. I've been doing Florida Gator coverage since 2021, and then I do high school coverage in the area. So I'm going to try to go out to a few practices this year. Newberry's got a couple good guys. Jarquez Carter is obviously a Florida target at Newberry. So I'm trying to go to a couple of their spring practices. Buchholz has a couple guys who a lot of former Florida players' sons on the team. There goes Jerry.
Again.
Travis McGriff's son, Keel, was a Newberry guy. He just transferred over to Buchholz. Doug Johnson's son, Trace Johnson, is the quarterback. I'm probably missing a couple guys too. And then obviously Hawthorne with Cornelius Ingram and his son. So I'm going to try and go check out those schools, get some spring schedules, and go get some content there. As far as my future, right now we're kind of just, we're still technically working with SI right now and the site transfer. So all Gators, they went through a publishing change. I don't really know the whole dynamics around that. But obviously we saw Zach is moving to cover the Jaguars. Really, really excited for him. He's earned that. I know he's really excited for that. Brandon Carroll is now doing WWE stuff too. So really, really excited for him. I've known Brandon for a couple of years now. We took classes together at UF, so I'm really, really excited to see him branch out this. So right now I'm still kind of with the site doing some minor stuff. So we'll see if that turns into something a little bit more permanent this year. Kind of waiting it out, but I'm really excited. So we'll see. If there's any Florida Gator news, we'll try to have that out. But right now, just kind of, I'm still in Gainesville. I have a lease in Gainesville. If whatever the site is with All Gators, I'm not sure what the new name of it is, or if they're keeping All Gators. But if they still want, they want me, I'm very happy to stay. We're still kind of waiting things out a little bit though. So, but right now I'm still kind of doing some minor Florida Gator coverage for the time being.
I just have one question, one suggestion, one thing to ask of. Please don't let Brandon get in the ring with Trick Williams or anybody in the next, because I don't need to see him getting body slammed by anybody. Like we can't have that happen.
I think Brandon is. I think he's excited to stay behind the laptop on this one. I think he's excited to be near all that, but not to stay out of the ring.
Yeah, I just don't need a storyline pop up where all of a sudden he gets in the ring. No,
I can promise you they will not be doing those storylines, brother.
I hope not, because if I turn on NXT and all of a sudden he's in the ring, I'm like, this ain't gonna end well. Brandon, we're gonna keep you in prayer. We'll see you at the hospital.
All right now, baby. All right.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is wild. But, Jerry, if you're still here, let everybody know where they can follow you in your burner account that you have hidden, tucked away.
Oh my God. Like this.
Follow me at JBreezyII, bro, on Twitter. I am Breezy II is my backup. And JLamar_II is my my Instagram.
Marcus, stop trying to fake like you're frozen.
No, man, I am not frozen. You know why, man. Marcus Davis 904 on Twitter. And my burner account, if you want to know what it is, listen real close. My burner account is at. That's all.
I don't have a burner account, but yeah, we definitely doing this. Like this gotta have somebody. If anybody on Twitter is watching this, because we know y'all are. Somebody start to go fund me for real. Like we might get this going for real.
I don't know, bro. This has been the worst. Like, it's just terrible tonight, bro.
You can follow me on Twitter at AceWade1, on Instagram at Ace_Wade1, ladies. Also, for me personally, stay tuned for FlowFactor.com. The website is coming soon, people. I will be on there. Can't wait to get the website going. When it gets going, everybody subscribe on there, including the ones that want to start fights in the message boards. We good. Y'all subscribe on that. Y'all follow and subscribe. And apparently we the Jam Crew now.
Jam Crew.
There we go.
You can follow the podcast page on Twitter at @inside_swamp. On Instagram, inside_Florida_athletics. Twitch, Inside Swamp. TikTok, Inside Swamp as well. We'll have more content for y'all there.
He's back, boy.
And
Chester.
Shout out Chester, who has come for revenge after you kept pushing him away. He has come for his.
He's trying to bite me.
Chester hungry, bro. Chester just like me.
Put the head down. I'm hungry.
I fed him before he came on. I guess he needs a third meal.
Yeah, he has come to take revenge because you kept
pushing.
Dang, Chester.
Chester, you good? Brother.
Chester is not playing. He is not with the games tonight. He is strictly business.
He's feral, man. He's got to put him in the closet and let him take all his energy out.
Dang.
We can't do that because you got a vicious cat, so you gonna jump through the closet door, and it's gonna be over for you.
Yeah, listen, man. I can't dangle my feet off my bed, man. He'll jump out from underneath it, and I'll get no sleep. So it's a fight every night with this one.
Yeah. But with that, this has been a great episode, another great episode of the Swamp Inside Florida Athletics. We're gonna leave it as we always do. God bless y'all. Go Gators. Y'all stay safe. This is funny as hell. Yeah.
Ain't no way.
Y'all.
Comment of the night right there. Comment of the night.
Nothing's topping that.
Oh my gosh.
The night.
Oh, man.
Y'all stay safe. Y'all take care of your loved ones. You love them every day. We have to stress and emphasize this every day. But y'all, please, for the love of God, wash your face, wash your hands. Marcus.
With soap and water, warm water, preferably. I implore all of you out there listening to this at home or in the convenience of your room, wherever the hell you are, to wash your asses.
Please.
And wear socks and shoes. Closed-toed shoes are the preferred medium. Inside the movie theater, in any and all public settings.
See, Marcus says that for a reason because of his experience.
Hey man, I thought it was it for me.
Look, man, if y'all going to the movie theaters anywhere without socks and shoes on, y'all are the most unhinged people on the planet.
And they're taking them off. I'm just trying to watch Spider-Man, and there you are with your damn shoes off in the little recliner, smelling like aftershave, nachos, and taco meat. I'm not trying to do that.
And here I thought a 7-year-old being allowed to go into the movie theater to not only watch Scream 6, but to be dressed in the darn costume. And I thought that was unhinged. 7-year-old kid.
Okay.
Only
There ought to be a law or something with the open-toed shoes and whatnot in public places where you get fined, and we'll take all that fine money and put it towards Jerry's new laptop.
Exactly.
That part, absolutely.
We'll get you funded
Absolutely.
real quick. Don't worry.
We can't take all that fine.
Absolutely.
We can't take all that fine money. Then you gonna have a better we'll than us.
We'll put it in a laptop. We'll split it 4 ways, and we'll make sure Jerry has just enough to get a new laptop. But we'll splurge. Don't worry.
Book Air, preferably.
They stop being cheap, bro. That's the issue.
But y'all, with that, y'all be blessed out there. Cam, it was great having you on. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see y'all again next week.